is Joey. Welcome to my channel. I got my Didi's Deluxe Bead Box, the June 2025 edition, in the mail. It was actually waiting for me when I got back from my trip to Cocoa Beach, and I am super excited because I picked up a lot of seashells and natural elements on the beach to put into my jewelry designs. And so what our friend Stella at Didi Beads has done here, it's perfectly curated, but it is absolutely so perfect and timely for just how I'm feeling right now. And as we go into the summer season, it is elegant, it's colorful, but it's natural, and I'm just super excited. So you might already know I have designed several projects. I'm going to do my first one as soon as I show you the contents, and then I'll be back in another video, and the next project is going to be a little bit more involved. The first one is a bracelet, and the next one is going to be a necklace. And hint, hint, in both projects, I'm going to be incorporating some of the things that I picked up on Cocoa Beach, and I have some little techniques for turning natural elements into jewelry findings. And in the next upcoming visit, I'm planning to use this little guy that I picked up on the beach. I've already lacquered it. I'm going to talk to you about how I lacquer my seashells when I'm turning them into jewelry findings. So let's dive into the contents of the box. Stella always does I didn't even say, Coastal Ember is the title of the box. And this is the Coastal Ember Inspired by Czech Designer Strand. She does a designer Czech bead strand in her deluxe bead box every month, and they are always stunning. And I always say this, although I never do it, but you totally could. You don't have to overthink this. You could literally put a clasp on this and you have a bracelet. But if you want to cut it apart, there are several beautiful Czech glass beads for earrings. I'm crazy about this one. I love kind of the glass as a window that you can see through. This is the color of seashells and pearls and the purest, creamiest oceanic vibes. And I love that cameo shape. This little bit of coral color on here. There's some Czech glass conch shells. I mean, she does such a great job on her strand. And then this is such a beautiful, beautiful strand of beads. There's 5 inches here of this 8mm natural green calcite gemstone. And I can tell you right now that there's a lot of variations and a lot of beauty in this, but I want this bead right here, and I'm going to go ahead and take it off. That is going to go in my project today. So I'm going to just snip this strand. Look at that beautiful bead. That is going to get set aside for my project, and I'll put the strand back here of the others. So pretty. I love this strand. Here's just a few of them loose so you can see all the color variation. It's so natural and just absolutely gorgeous. And from a design viewpoint, anything in the green family, green is a neutral, so you can really pop any color with it. People forget that it's a neutral. They always think black, white, taupe, gray, but green is neutral. If you look in nature, you can see that. Think of a color that doesn't go with green. Oranges, pink and green, black and green, cream and green, purple and green, like everything goes with green. And it is a way to add life to your pieces. You know, if you don't want to do an all green piece. And I say that, and ironically, green is probably one of my least favorite colors, but I use it in everything, so maybe I can't say that anymore. And then this is going in my first project. I love this. This is a 7-inch strand of a 4mm faceted teal green jade rondelle. So the facets are just gorgeous. There's that gorgeous natural color variation in it, and that sweet size for me that I just love. So that is going in my first project. I love it. And then this might be my favorite thing in the box. I have a couple of favorites, and that's saying something because I love the whole box, but these are irregular. They're 6 to 12mm pink orange coral sticks. There's an 8-inch strand here, and what I love about these is how petite they are, and they're quite soft for being little spiky things. They're quite soft, and there is like a lot when you cut these apart and start to just play with them. They're just amazing. I have some coral sticks that are much larger sticks, and they're so lovely and highly textural in this scale, in this size. So I love them. A little bit of this is also going in my first project. And then I love this. I have an entire bracelet planned with these chip beads. This is a 10-inch strand. There's quite a lot here to work with, and these will be about 8 to 12 millimeter, and it's a natural brown mother of pearl, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love the flash and the shimmer that you get in mother of pearl, and I pick it up on the beach all the time, and it's usually more white and creamy. In fact, I have some of my bits here from the beach, natural ones that I picked up on the beach. Look how gorgeous that one is, and this one even has some of that brown or ochre color in it, but these are just so uniform and just absolutely so beautiful. I just love how, you know, the natural shapes and shimmer and the whole thing. I mean, it's just beautiful. And then this is not something that I have worked with in, I don't even know, years maybe, and I don't know why, because this is so cool. This is a 4 to 5 millimeter natural brown coconut heishi rondelle, and we got an 8-inch strand of this. I love cylindrical beads, and I love heishi or disc shaped beads, and these are so cool because each one is, you know, a little bit different than the next because it's natural, and I love them. They're smooth and soft, and they are lightweight, and I forget about how light and comfortable jewelry out of coconut is for the summer, and I don't know why, but Stella has just brought this back to the forefront of my brain. And while I have this in my hand, this is not for this project, but the project coming up. I just got a bag of coconut buttons on clearance at the craft store, and I have a couple of flower carved coconut buttons and just some little plain ones that match, and these elements are going to be going into my next project with this. So just a little sneak peek. I'm super excited about it. If you guys have been around me before, been on my channel, you know that when I get a bead box, any bead box, even the collaboration that I do with Didi Beads, I still like to go into my stash and pull some things that are special, specific to me, that will make my pieces unique to me and, you know, kind of have my little signature on it. So I've done that again. Those are just a couple of the things, some of the things I brought back from the beach, and there's more. I'll share that with you, but I don't mean to be all over the place, but I'm very excited about my designs for this box because I really love it. I think it's classic. I think it's timeless. It's timely as we go into summer, and it's elegant. It's going to be like beach chic, you know, maybe beach boho chic, because there's a lot of mixed media here. Okay, I love to chat about design, but let's jump into the next piece, which I equally love. There's an 8-inch strand here of this 4 millimeter diamond cut gold plated hematite, and they're a rondelle, kind of a rondelle, but they're kind of shaped like a diamond, and they have like a little diamond cutting on every side of the rondelle, but they're square, so they're really a square dell, I guess, but they are gorgeous. And you know, I love that Stella knows that we really need these little spacers and these little pops of metallic to do good designs, and she is always so generous with that item in her boxes, I've noticed. And even after I've done a lot of pieces, I will still have these left over that I'll carry into, you know, other things that I'm designing. Now this is so cool. I love, love, love this. This is a turquoise teal composite pillow bead, and they're matte. They don't have any shine on them, but they have a lot of dimension and a lot of interest for, you know, just because of the composite. They, when you look into them, they look like a tile mosaic, and so each one is a little bit different, and I just love them. And these are going to be going in my next project. I love them. I'm going to use a few of them. And then up next is, let's see, let me not miss anything, this designer teal bit mix, one of my little shell beads. My mother of pearl escaped, but look at the beautiful rondelle crystals. Just a pretty little mix. You can use these as spacers. You could string them just random and get a little layering bracelet out of this mix. It's just a great bead to have in with the collection. And then there's 4 pieces of this brick orange glazed porcelain flower bead. Porcelain and ceramic beads have really large holes, so they are wonderful if you want to string on hemp cord and like stay in the natural elements, or Brazilian wax cord, or even leather. You know, almost, I think you could easily fit a 1 millimeter leather cord. Sorry, my voice is cracking. You could easily fit a 1mm leather cord through these flowers and flank it with some knots. They're just gorgeous. I love them. I might even do one of these. I wasn't planning to, but I might use one of these in my project today. And then we also have 4 pieces of freshwater shell beads. So they're freshwater shells, but they're shaped like a shell, and they're just carved. And these are cool. The drill hole, instead of going up and down like that, these go this way. That is so pretty. It's such a pretty, unique way to have them drilled. And what I love about that is, you know, it's a little different orientation for making your bracelet instead of going that way. They're just lovely, really lovely. And those will make really pretty earrings too, because of being drilled that way. You can use seed beads or any kind of wire or stringing material and make a teardrop with your shell, like literally facing forward on it. So crazy about those. And then this is my second or third. I mean, these are my favorite. These are my favorite. Okay, it's all my favorite. These are my favorite. But I absolutely love the bonus item. This is a 30mm natural green turbo conch shell. So, you know, it's the spinning one. I just love this bead. I pick up a lot of fragments of these type of beads on the beach because I love to use them in design, but to have a whole perfect one that's gilded around the edges, it is wonderful. And this is going to be the main focal of today's project. So I'm super excited. Let me just pull out the things that I think are going to go in today's project, and I'm going to clean away the other things so it will just be a second for you. Okay, I have taken about 13 inches of my soft flex wire. It is the fluorite color. It's a really soft green, like a seafoam green, and it's the 49 strand. And this is going to be a Lariat bracelet. So no closure. I'm going to make a loop on one end, and the conch shell, or not conch shell, the conch shell. The conch shell is going to actually loop through and hopefully hold the bracelet on. I do have a plan B because I've never done this before, but if I feel like it's not secure enough, I might just like slip a jump ring and a little lobster claw clasp or even a magnetic clasp in. But I'm going to try it without. I'm going to see, you know, if it will stay around the wrist that way. And before I get started with the stringing, I'm taking one of the seashells that I found on the beach. And you know what happens with them is they look beautiful when they're in the water, and then when they get dry, they don't have that sheen or that shimmer. So I have a little trick for that. And I also, let me just grab a plastic little container thing here. I also want to decorate the hole. So I just want to put a jump ring through this, and I think I'm going to make this a charm on my bracelet. I really like the color on this one, but I want the hole to look a little bit more finished and a little bit more like a jewelry finding. So I have a teeny tiny little gold daisy spacer, and I'm going to take some E6000 glue and glue that and let this set up. I'm going to glue it, coat it, do all of that while I'm stringing and making the rest of my bracelet. I'm sorry for reaching behind me. I'm just going to get my tiny little tube of E6000, and it totally does not take much. But this makes you have a little bit nicer opening to attach your jump ring, and it also protects the natural shell from getting stressed. So I'm just going to put a tiny little bead of glue, not even a bead really, just a little line of glue. And I love the E6000 because it literally bonds anything, but it also gives you plenty of time to adjust things, move things around. So I'm just going to pick this up and center it over that hole. I already dropped it. Just going to get it centered right over the hole. Okay, that is perfect. And I'm going to take a little bit of my Permalac because I'm also going to lacquer the shell. but I'm going to brush some of my Permalac right on here as well because I don't want this to turn black. Now this is the semi-gloss. I'm going to go ahead and brush my seashell. I am literally trying this for the first time with you guys. I've brushed my Permalac coating on so many things, but I have not tried it on seashells. What I normally use, just clear that hole a little bit. What I normally use for my seashells is just some dollar store nail lacquer, just clear nail lacquer, high gloss. And so what I'm going to do this time is just try this. I'm going to set this down in my dish and just brush a little bit of the Permalac over it. This is the semi-gloss and it doesn't really dry glossy, so this may not give me the look that I want. But since I had it in my hand for the little spacer bead, give it a try. Let it dry and see. If it's not shiny enough for me to look like the shell is still under the water, I'll go back with my other, my normal one that I use. But that's what we have. I'm going to set that aside to dry and let's get to stringing. Okay, to start off with, I have strung 4 seed beads. Oh, let me back up a little bit. I have 2 seed beads out here that I just had from my stash. I don't even remember where I bought these, maybe Hobby Lobby, but one is in a transparent yellow coral, and these are check beads by John Bead, and this one is transparent yellow green, and I just think they are perfect with the box. So I am going to have those out here for spacer beads. I am going to be using these, but I also just in my tray I have some gold 11.0 and 8.0 seed beads because sometimes they just work wonders when you have to string a little pattern. So also I'm going to grab some crimp tubes. This project will call for 2 crimp tubes, so I might as well go ahead and get those ready. And so let me back up again. So I have strung on 4 of those coral seed beads and then my seashell and then 3 coral seed beads. And I'm going to make a loop here by putting this end of my bead stringing wire back through that last seed bead, and I'm just going to pull this down. And that is where I'm going to crimp. I want this bead to be at the bottom, and I just want to make sure, yes, it does go through, both strands go through the hole. So now I'm going to pick up one of my crimp tubes and feed that right down over both of those strands, and that's going to start off my bracelet. In essence, this is the closure. I hope this works. You know, sometimes when something is in my head, it seems like such a great idea, but then you have to execute it. So it's a little bit of design on the fly. It's kind of scary to take you into my head, I guess. Tube, get my circle, get my loop, a little seed bead circle loop kind of situated. And I'm going to use my magical crimping plier and make sure I'm not breaking my seed bead and get this crimped. My bracelet has started, and my first bead is going to be this gorgeous green. And then I'm going to create a pattern here with the green rondelles. And that's going to be, I think mostly that's going to be the length of my bracelet is going to be this. And when I get down to this end, right before I make the loop that fits over the shell, I'm going to do a little section of the sticks. Okay, that's about how far I'm going to go with that pattern. All I did is put this around my wrist to see about where I'm going to need my loop, and that's going to give me a little bit of space to put some coral sticks. So let me move this little strand and get some coral sticks on my bracelet. Okay, that's what I have so far. I absolutely love the way it looks. And so now I'm going to start my loop. That needs to be big enough to fit over my seashell. So I'm going to feed on this crimp tube. So it is waiting. This bead stringing wire barely goes through. This is medium, so you might even want to do the fine, but it went through, but I know that I won't get this back down through any of the coral. And on this end, I'm going to do my loop out of the turquoise beads, but I also want to bring in some gold seed beads, I believe. Let's see. Let me do these seed beads. These are 11-0 galvanized, and I'm gonna dot my loop with the gold seed beads. Just create a little pattern, like 3 and a gold, 3 and a gold, something like that. It could even be random. So just like when you make a loop, to go over a button closure, this is the same principle. And what I do when I'm doing that to make sure that I got the sweet spot, the sweet size in my loop, is without crimping, I just pull everything through the crimp tube so that I can check my loop and see if it's going to go over, and it does. And you know, you want it to be loose enough to go over, but snug enough that it is going to hold your piece. And I'm also, since it's a little bit hard to judge the size, the length of this bracelet because of the loop and the seashell, I'm gonna try it on my arm too and see if I need to back my pattern down at all before I crimp this end. And I do. I am going to pull off 2 sections of the jade. So I'm just going to back this down. I'm happy with everything. I know my length for my loop, so I can lay all these beads right here. And I'm just going to back this down a little bit because it is going to be a little bit big for me. Okay, I think I got my length just right. This is so cool, you guys, and it looks to me like the seashell, just the size and shape of it, is going to really make this stay on easily. I have done similar things, not with a seashell, where I added a magnetic clasp if I didn't feel like it was secure, but I don't think that's going to be necessary today. So I have my little loop here, and I am just going to pull everything tight. I don't want any weird gaps. I love that little pattern where every 3 seed beads has a gold seed bead. And now I just have to, this is as precarious to crimp around coral sticks as it is to crimp around tiny seed beads. I'm just going to get my magical crimping plier in here. I don't want to break my coral or my seed beads, so I think the best way to approach this is to fit the tube in the tool, and then I'm not closing tightly here. Then I'm going to pull everything, and before I close the tool, I just want to make sure that it's not a rigid bracelet. And I think when I pull the tool away, it's going to be perfect. So I'm just going to close down and get my crimp in the opposite direction, close again, and just hold that position, careful not to break a coral stick or a seed bead, and voila. And I'm going to come right here and snip as close as I can. And so this goes in the scrap bag because this is a component or an earring. I don't waste any of that Beautiful bead stringing material. Oh my goodness. This is the cutest, most unique bracelet. I don't think I can wear it with my watermelon bracelet, but the other thing is, when I found this very easy to put on and off. Look at that. Isn't that the cutest thing? And the seashell is a bauble, but it also acts as your closure. I really love it. Okay, let's take this off because I do want to add a little charm. Maybe do I want to add it to the loop side or to this side? Let's check in on my charm. Let me pull that in and see how it's doing. So the Permalac coating is almost not visible. It didn't give it a lot of shine. So I'm going to do a coat of my nail lacquer that I normally do, and I like to do both sides, but I do need to make sure that I'm not blocking the hole because I need to get a jump ring through there. So I'm gonna just have my piece of wire ready here, and I'm just gonna give this a nice, generous but even, smooth coat, and it just makes it look like the shell is still wet from the ocean. Let that dry a little bit and come to the top side. So while that dries, I'll just show you that that is what I do to make my natural elements look as if they are still wet, and it gives them a little bit more polish and a little bit more jewelry quality. Can you see the luster on it? And it's just inexpensive, clear nail polish. This has a beautiful, nice, natural hole, so I don't have to make a hole in it. And so I think you'll be seeing 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 of these in my next video with the rest of this box. But I just wanted to show you that your found objects can really be very easily incorporated into your jewelry with a little E6000 glue or gel Loctite super glue. You can add a little gold presence to your natural elements and shine them up, and they are beautiful in your jewelry and unique, because nobody's going to have the exact same element. So I'm just going to let this little shell, the little lacquer that I put on this little shell, just let it dry. It's really looking great. It's nail lacquer, so it doesn't take a really long time to dry. And I'm going to put this jump ring through it and attach it to my bracelet. And so I'm just going to clean up a little bit while that finishes to really dry, and I'll be back and show you the finished piece. Okay, I decided to do one more thing, and ideally I would have done it before I put the lacquer on, but when I put this jump ring on and attached it, I was thinking how nice it would be to have a little gold edge on my charm that I'm making. And so I have 2 different gold metallic markers and silver. This little set here, I can link it below. I just got this. This has gold and silver inside, and this is one that I got last year for my seashell projects, and I really like the color on that. So let me just show you how easy it is to do, and I can very easily go back and even just put another coat of my Permalac on top of this gilding. So you just take your marker and just like touch the edge and let it kind of go into the natural grooves on the seashell. And you could start with a little bit and then go back if you want to do a little more, and just go all the way around. And this is just another thing that makes this look like a jewelry finding, and polishes it up and makes it look like it belongs on a bracelet. I'm going to do the across the top here as well, because you'll see that. just a little bit of gilding. And I'm going to just let that dry. It dries really quickly. It does not take long to dry. And I can put a link to both of these markers. There's little differences in color in the golds and silvers. And I like both of them. And I usually have a test seashell when I'm doing my markers, so that before I put it on my piece that is actually going on my bracelet, you know, I know what it looks like. So I just wanted to share that with you because it is a super fast and easy way. And you can buy seashells that have the gilding done. And I will also take my Permalac and brush it over this seashell so that the gilding on this shell also stays nice and shiny. I love my Permalac coating. I use it for everything. So let's get this little charm on the bracelet. Just made this little jump ring. It's like a 10 millimeter, and I'm just going to go through the back, through the seashell hole and the hole that I put on there, and I'm going to come right here around the whole circumference of the piece, not through the loop, but just, you know, around the whole circumference, and get it closed. And many of you know why I just did that. If you don't, I'll show you the reason for that. It's just a little trick, especially with a lasso style bracelet or a lariat bracelet, if that's even a thing. When you go around the whole circumference, your charm moves around 360 degrees. And so no matter which way I put my bracelet on, my dangle is, you know, in good shape. I took my watermelon bracelet off to show you how cute this is. I really love it. I could see me wearing this a lot this summer. It's lightweight. It feels really good on. And I just really love the way that it turned out. I love mixing all the natural elements. You know, it's just gorgeous. I love the color palette of it. It doesn't weigh very much. And I was thinking this might not stay on, but it really, as you can see, it's really going to work. It's really cute to have the seashell for the closure, and I just love it as a bauble. It's just a gorgeous little bracelet and a really fun design. So I am just going to explain really quickly for newer people that if you're not familiar with Didi's Deluxe Bead Box, it is a very limited edition. It's not a monthly subscription. It is first come, first serve. She releases it for sale on the 12th of every month. It's announced on my channel and also on her Facebook group. It does sell out every month. She is a boutique bead business. If you can get this, it's wonderful to get it. But I know she sells out of it as soon as it goes for sale. So like the July box will go for sale on the 12th of the month, and it goes really quickly. So you will never be disappointed in what you get from Didi Beads. But if it is something you're interested in, that is her schedule. And I will be back with another video with the rest of the beads, and I do have a discount code for Didi Beads. It does not work on the Deluxe check box or a few things. It works on about 80% of the website. So I'll put that in the description box along with links. And I thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a wonderful summer so far, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, friends.